Many years ago, there lived a young girl named Kiki. Kiki had always known she was different. While most young girls in her neighborhood played with dolls or ran after kites in the dusty streets, she would sit patiently, weaving intricate patterns into the hair of her younger cousins. What began as an idle fun soon turned into a recognized gift. Neighbors marveled at how her little fingers could twist, plait, and braid with precision that seemed far beyond her age. By the time she finished secondary school, Kiki had already earned a name as the girl with the magic hands. It wasn't magic in the real sense, but the effect of her work felt magical to anyone who sat under her care. She had a way of making her clients feel comfortable, as though she understood not just only the strands of their hair, but the weight of their trouble. Women who came to her for hairstyling often left feeling lighter, happier, and oddly refreshed. Your hands are blessed, they always said, and Kiki, with her shy smile, would laugh it off as nothing more than talent. But for Kiki, hair was more than just beauty, it was her escape. Her parents had struggled to raise five children on meager income, and Kiki was the second. Her father, a retired driver, and her mother, a petty trader, had always insisted that Kiki should learn something that would put food on the table. So, when she finished secondary school and couldn't immediately proceed to the university due to lack of funds, she decided to sharpen her hairstyling skill. By 23, Kiki was well known in her area. She moved from house to house, attending to customers who booked her weeks in advance. Kiki, my wedding is coming up. I must book you first, though. One would say. Another would plea, Kiki, please, don't forget me for my daughter's birthday. The young woman was barely sleeping some days, but the satisfaction of her customers kept her going. The money was decent, though the stress of moving from one house to another was wearing her out. Kiki began to dream bigger. I need my own salon, she often told her younger sister Sade, who sometimes accompanied her on appointments. A place where people would come to me instead of me always going to them. A place where my name boldly would be written outside. Sade, ever the optimist, would nod enthusiastically. And you will, Kiki. People already love you. Imagine how many more would come when you open a shop. You will be unstoppable. But dreams were easy. Reality was not. Renting a shop was not small feat. The prices were outrageous and Kiki's savings were modest. Still, every time she styled another customer's hair in their cramped living room, she pictured herself in a spacious salon with bright mirrors, elegant chairs, and her name Kiki's Touch Salon painted bold across the front. She didn't know it yet, but her dream was about to take shape in ways she never expected. The following month, Kiki decided it was time to act. She gathered all her savings, tucked them in a brown envelope, and began searching for a shop. Every 3 hours between appointments was spent roaming the busy streets, asking agents and peering into vacant spaces with to let scribbled on faded boards. The first shop she found was near, but ridiculously small. She imagined herself and two clients squeezed in the narrow space with hardly enough room to move. How will she even breathe here? She muttered to herself, shaking her hands. The nest was larger, but located deep inside a residential street where traffic was low. No one would even notice me here, she thought. Disappointment etching her face. She needed somewhere busy, somewhere people would pass daily, glance at her signboard, and decide to walk in. Another shop she inspected was perfect in size and location too, but came with an outrageous rent that made her laugh bitterly. If I pay for this one, how will I be able to buy chairs or a dryer? She asked the agent, who only shrugged indifferently. Weeks passed, and the excitement of her search was quickly replaced with frustration. One evening, after returning from yet another fruitless inspection, Kiki slumped into her bed and groaned. Maybe it's not my time yet, she whispered to herself. But deep down, she knew she wasn't ready to give up. It was a particular hot afternoon that her luck seemed to change. She had just finished styling a bride-to-be's hair when she noticed a large shop space along a busy road. The glass door was dusty and the toilet sign looked old, as if no one had been interested for months. Curiosity tugged at her. She asked the shopkeeper next door about it. That place? Ah, it has been empty for a long time oh, the woman replied dismissively. The landlord has been begging people to take it. I don't know why. People are not interested. Maybe, maybe it's too big. Kiki's heart skipped. Too big? That was no problem for her. If anything, it was exactly what she needed. She called the number on the sign, and within hours, the landlord showed up. He was a short, stout man with a permanent smile plastered on his face. This place is good for business, he said confidently, jingling the keys. You are lucky. I don't usually give out this cheap oh, but I like your spirit, you know. Kiki's eyes widened when he mentioned the rent. It was far less than anything she had seen in that area, almost suspiciously low. But instead of questioning, her excitement drowned out her doubts. It's perfect, she said eagerly. You want it? The landlord asked. Yes, I'll take it, Kiki replied without hesitation. That evening, she returned home grinning from ear to ear. She felt like she had hit the jackpot. God has done it for me oh, she whispered. And just like that, Kiki became the proud tenant of a special shop on one of the busiest streets in town. The transformation was quick. With the help of her siblings and a few friends, Kiki cleaned, painted, and furnished the shop. She bought mirrors, chairs, dryers, and shelves stocked with hair products. The shop came alive with colors, and when the final touch, a bold signboard reading Kiki's Touch Salon was fixed above the door, she felt a lump in her throat. This is it, she whispered to herself, tears threatening to fall. For the first time, she wasn't just Kiki the home service girl, she was Kiki the saloon owner. Word spread quickly. Her loyal customers, eager to support her, flocked to the new shop. Some came out of curiosity, while others simply wanted to see the young woman who had finally stepped up her business. The first few weeks were a whirlwind of appointments, laughter, and endless chatter. But something strange began to happen. It started softly. Customers would doze off in her chair while she worked on their hair. At first, Kiki thought nothing of it. They must be tired, she told herself. But soon, it became a pattern. Every single client who sat under her hands drifted into deep sleep, as though her touch carried a sedative powder. More shocking was how quickly her work progressed. Styles that normally took 3 hours were now completed in just 30 minutes. She would start breathing, and before she knew it, the hair was finished, neat and perfect. Ah, Kiki, you are too fast oh, one woman exclaimed after waking up to find her hair beautifully done. Did I really sleep that long? Another laughed nervously. This your shop is something else oh. I just closed my eyes small oh. And you finished this whole hell just now? Kiki brushed off the comment with a smile, though inside she felt a mixture of pride and unease. Her income tripled. Her schedule was always full, and yet she couldn't shake the odd feeling that something about the shop was unusual. One night, long after her last customers had left, she sat alone in the shop, sweeping the floor. That was when she heard it for the first time, a faint muffled sound. It was soft at first, like the distant cry of a baby. She froze, broom in hand, and strained her ears. The sound grew louder, unmistakably a woman sobbing. Her heart pounded. She dropped the broom, rushed outside, and scanned the streets. Nothing. The road was quiet. only a few cars passing by. She stepped back inside, but the crying had stopped. Maybe I'm just tired, she told herself. Yet, as she locked up that night, an unsettling chill followed her home. The next day, it happened again and again. Only this time, she was sure it wasn't her imagination. The following week, Kiki's salon was busier than ever. Customers came in and out, chatting loudly, laughing and dozing off in her chair as usual. But in the quiet moments, when the shop was empty, the strange occurrences continued. The crying returned, sometimes soft and far away, other times closer, like someone weeping just behind her chair. Kiki would stop working, her heart thundering, and check every corner of the shop, even peered into the tiny storage room at the back, but it was always empty. She tried to convince herself it was stress or her mind playing trick on her, but fear gnawed at her. Whenever there was no customer, she could not stay inside. She began to drag a plastic chair outside and sit in the open, pretending to enjoy the breeze. She would only return inside when she saw a customer approaching. It didn't help that her client also noticed something was off. "Kiki, your shop is nice oh," one woman said one afternoon as Kiki blow dried her hair. "But it's cold here, like ice. Do you have AC?" Kiki shook her head quickly. "No, na just fan I get oh." The woman frowned. "Strange, even when the fan is off, the place is freezing. It feels eerie." Others made similar remark. Some laughed it off, saying maybe the shop carried too much anointing because of how people slept off when Kiki walked on them. But a few cast worried glances around, their voices dropping as though they didn't want to speak too loudly. Kiki herself couldn't deny it anymore. Something about the shop was wrong. But she kept quiet. Business was booming, and she didn't want rumors to chase her customers away. Still, each night, when she locked up and hurried home, the faint sobbing lingered in her ears. Kiki's fear deepened with time. She began to dread opening her shop in the morning, her stomach knotting as she slid key into the lock. During the day, the chatter of customers distracted her. But at night, when she was left alone, the silence pressed on her like a heavy blanket. The crying was no longer the only strange thing. Sometimes, she felt a presence, like invisible eyes watching her every move. At other times, the mirror in the shop seemed to flicker, showing shadows that disappeared when she looked twice. One evening, after finishing with her last client, she was sweeping the floor when she heard the sobbing again. This time, it was clearer, louder, almost desperate. Her hands trembled as she clutched the broom, her eyes darting to every corner. "Who is there?" she whispered, her voice shaking. No answer. The sobbing continued and then stopped abruptly, replaced by a suffocating silence. Her heart raced. She threw the broom aside, grabbed her bag, and ran out of the shop without even locking the door properly. That night, she barely slept, tossing and turning as the sound replayed in her head. The following day, she sat outside most of the time, waiting for customers. Some of them teased her about her new habits. "Kiki, why are you always outside now?" one asked. She forced a smile. "Ah, you know now, the heat is too much. I like fresh air." But deep down, she was terrified. The shop that once felt like a blessing was beginning to feel like a curse. Yet, she couldn't leave. She had invested all her savings, and her business was thriving. Still, a small voice inside whispered, "Something is wrong here. Something you don't understand." One Wednesday morning, Kiki boarded a crowded bus on her way to the shop. She squeezed herself inside a seat beside an elderly woman who wore thick glasses and carried a large handbag. The woman chatted briefly about the weather, then dozed off against the window. When they reached her stop, Kiki tapped her gently. The woman woke, adjusted her wrapper, and hurried off the bus. But in her haste, she left her glasses behind on the seat. "Ma, your glasses!" Kiki called, but The boss had already moved on. Kiki picked up the glasses, turning them over in her hand. They were an old-fashioned one with thick lenses and slightly cracked frame. She slipped them into her bag, intending to return them if she ever saw the woman again. That afternoon, business was slow. Only one customer had come, and after she left, Kiki sat alone in the shop, restless. The silence pressed in again, and she felt the familiar unease for reasons she couldn't explain. Her hand drifted to her bag. She pulled out the old glasses and stared at them. A strange urge filled her. Almost without thinking, she slipped them into her face. The world shifted. At first, everything looked the same: chairs, mirrors, hair products, neatly arranged. But then she saw it. In far corner of the shop, just beneath the mirror, sat a woman. She was weeping quietly. Her head bent, her face pale and streaked with tears. Her dress was tattered, her skin ashen, and her body seemed almost transparent. Kiki froze, her breath catching in her throat. Her hands trembled as she clutched the armchair of her chair. She blinked rapidly, thinking her eyes were deceiving her. But the figure remained. The woman lifted her head slowly, and their eyes met. Kiki gasped and stumbled backward, almost knocking over a dryer. Her heart pounded so loudly, she thought it would burst. The weeping woman, lips smooth, and though her voice was faint, it echoed through the room. "Help me!" Kiki's knees buckled. She had never been so terrified in her life. At the moment, she realized the crying she had been hearing all along was real, and it belonged to a ghost sitting in her shop. Kiki stood frozen, staring at the figure in the corner of her salon. The ghostly woman's eyes were hollow, yet piercing, her voice a low whispering that filled the air. "Help me!" Kiki wanted to scream, to run, but her leg refused to move. Her breath came in short gasps as sweat trickled down her face. Slowly, she tore off the glasses, her heart thundering wildly. The figure vanished instantly, leaving the corner empty once more. For a long moment, Kiki stood still, her chest heaving. She dared not put the glasses back on, but her curiosity battled her fear. Could it be real? Or had she gone mad from stress? Hands trembling, she slid the glasses onto her face again. The woman was still there. Her body flickered faintly, as though she existed between two worlds. This time, she raised her head fully. Her face was young, maybe in her 30s, but lined with sorrow. "Please, don't be afraid," the ghost said. Kiki stumbled backward, her back pressing against the wall. Who are you? What are you doing in my shop?" The ghost's eyes filled with more tears. "I am not here by choice. I used to own this salon until he killed me." Kiki's blood ran cold. Her lips parted, but no words came out. The ghost continued, her voice low and mournful. "The landlord, he promised me this place would be mine, but after a disagreement, he strangled me, buried my body beneath those floors, and erased every trace of me. Since then, my spirit had been trapped here, restless, forgotten." Kiki's knee wobbled. She gripped the edge of the mirror for support. You mean you've been the one crying all this time?" The ghost nodded. "Yes, and you are the first who can see me. Those glasses, they allow you to see the truth." Kiki felt dizzy. This was beyond anything she could have imagined. She wanted to deny it, to walk out, and never return. But the woman's hollow eyes held her still. "I need your help," the ghost whispered. "Please, free me. Bring him to justice." That night, Kiki couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, the ghost words replaying in her mind. The landlord, a murderer? It sounded impossible, yet the sorrow in the woman's voice had felt real, too real to dismiss. The next morning, Kiki dragged herself to the shop, her stomach knotted with dread. The moment she stepped inside, the familiar chill returned. She slipped on the glasses again. The ghost was there waiting. "Why me?" Kiki asked, her voice breaking. "Why can't you leave me out of this? I just wanted to run my business and make money." The ghost form flickered, her tears flowing silently. "Because you are the first who can hear me, and you cannot stay here. The first who can see me. I cannot leave this place until my story is told, until justice is done." Kiki swallowed hard, fear tightening around the chest. "What do you want me to do?" The ghost moved closer, her voice urgent. "Tell the police. Tell them to dig beneath the tile floor of this shop. They will find my remains. And in his house, there is a box hidden in his room. Inside are documents he took from me, papers, letters, proof of who I was. They will expose him." Kiki's hands shook as she gripped her chair. What if? What if he comes after me? What if no one believes me? "Fear is his weapon," the ghost whispered. "But the truth will protect you. Please, Kiki, I have suffered long enough. Help me rest." Tears burned Kiki's eyes. She had never asked for this. She only wanted a salon, a chance to grow her business. Now, she was being pulled into a murder mystery with a restless spirit begging for justice. But deep down, she knew she couldn't walk away, not after everything she had heard. She took a deep breath, her voice trembling. "All right, I would try." The ghost lip curved into a faint sorrowful smile. "Thank you." The next day, Kiki walked into the police station with her heart pounding. She felt the weight of the ghost's request heavy on her shoulder. The officers looked at her skeptically as she spoke. Their brows furrowed as she explained what she had discovered. "You are saying there is a body buried in your shop?" one officer asked. Kiki hesitated, then nodded firmly. "Yes, please, just check. You would see." They exchanged doubtful glances, but eventually agreed to investigate. That afternoon, officers arrived at Kiki's salon with shovels and tools. Curious neighbors gathered outside, murmuring as they watched. Kiki stood to one side, wrinkling her hands, her heart racing. The officers broke through the tiled floor in the corner of the shop. Hours passed, the digging deepening. Then came the chilling discovery. And fragments of jewelry buried in the earth. Gaps filled the room. The officers stiffened, their expression turning grim. The murmurs from the crowd outside grew louder. "It's true," one officer murmured. The, it's here." The evidence was undeniable. That same evening, the police arrested the landlord. At first, he laughed it off, insisting it was not possible. But when they searched his home, they found the box exactly where the ghost had said it would be. Inside were documents belonging to the dead woman, along with incriminating evidence linking him to her disappearance. Confronted with the truth, the landlord's smile cracked. Under interrogation, he broke down and confessed his greed, his anger, his crime, all laid bare. When Kiki heard the news, relief washed over her, but so did fear. She had been right. The ghost had told her the truth, and now the world knew it too. The landlord was arrested and was meant to face the full wrath of the law. The discovery shocked the community. News spread quickly, and people whispered about the haunted salon and the young hairstylist who had exposed a case. Customers stopped coming, not out of anger at Kiki, but out of fear of the place itself. Kiki tried to remain brave, but the trauma weighed heavily on her. Each time she stepped into the salon, she remembered the cries, the ghostly figure, the body that was beneath her floor. Even though the police had cleared it out, the air felt thick, heavy with sorrow. One evening, she put on the glasses one last time. The ghost appeared again, but this time she wasn't crying. Her face was calm, almost peaceful. "Thank you," the woman whispered. "Because of you, I can finally rest." Kiki's chest tightened as tears rolled down her cheeks. I am sorry you suffered so much. The ghost gave a faint smile. You were my voice when I had none. May peace follow you. And with that, she faded, her form dissolving into the air until the shop was empty once more. Kiki removed the glasses, slowly, her hands trembling. The corner was silent. No more crying, no more shadows, just emptiness. The next morning, Kiki made her decision. She returned the shop keys to the police and packed up her equipment. She couldn't continue there, not after everything that had happened. Her siblings tried to persuade her to hold on, but she shook her head firmly. I don't care about money anymore. Peace of mind is better. So she returned to her old routine, offering home services. Once again, it wasn't as glamorous and it wasn't as fast, but it was safe. And every time she styled someone's hair, she remembered the ghostly woman whose cries had once filled her salon, a woman who had found justice at last through her hands. Kiki would never forget. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story. Kindly share with us your thoughts in the comment section as we interact. Like this video please, and kindly subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed. Please share this video to your loved ones. Until I come your way again with another story, for now from me it is bye.